acquisition salesperson on the cheap and extremely fast. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast or you've been watching me on YouTube for any length of time, my goal for you is to create a highly profitable real estate wholesaling business that throws off cash month after month after month. And I got to tell you, I consult with the top real estate investors across the country, and they are the most profitable, the most strategic, the wholesalers who get the most out of the least. They squeeze really the most juice out of the lemon. And so if this is sounding like something you want to be a part of and you're a fan of what I talk about, make sure to head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com, and there you can download a copy of the Next Level Wholesaling Assessment. It's going to rate you in the 4 core areas of your wholesaling business. That's going to be marketing, acquisition, disposition, and your profit, which is really the most important reason you're in business, right? Because if you're not making a ton of profit, geez, what are you here for, right? So I do see a lot of people moving around a lot of pieces, moving around a lot of money, and not keeping a lot. And guys, I got to tell you, and gals, that's bullcrap. Why the hell would you do that? So again, if you're here to make big, fat, juicy profits, you want an MBA, that's a massive bank account, you are in the right place. All right, so let's talk about how you could find an acquisition specialist on the fly that you don't have to bring on as an employee. Now, I always recommend your first step hiring a virtual assistant to get all the administrative stuff off your plate, right? Get everything out, but get everything off your plate that's not selling. Your second hire should be a lead manager, someone who's sifting through leads and getting you on face-to-face appointments. And I got to tell you, you have those 2 team members, which that overhead is like going to be next to nothing, right? Next to less than, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000 a month max. You can make $1 million a year gross, right? And you'll be able to keep like 70% of that, which is a lot of money for most of you listening to this. I know a lot of wholesalers who have never broken 100,000, and there's a chronic epidemic of people like at that 100 grand range. And so if you get hyper focused, you focus on one market, you get really consistent with your marketing, all right, you can do those kind of numbers with just 2 team members. But let's talk about hiring an acquisition specialist, or at least getting belly to belly, because I got to tell you, everyone is talking about nationwide wholesaling right now. And I got to tell you, I see a lot of people really suffering and flailing, and they're all over the place, and they have no systems and processes, or at least their systems and processes are breaking. And one of the reasons why I hate nationwide wholesaling, I've talked a little bit about this on some other videos, is that you have to change your process for every single deal that you do, right? You got a new title company, you have a new realtor you got to find new notary. And so all of these, things are just too many moving pieces. So I love going local. And so once you're meeting with someone belly to belly, let's assume for 1 second that you can't meet with somebody, or you don't want to meet with somebody, or maybe you have a deal in your local market and they're out of state. How do you find a salesperson? And by the way, you can use this salesperson locally in your market. And this is a great hack. And I didn't share it for a long time, but you will find that notaries are some of the best salespeople that you can find. Why? Well, notaries, especially loan notaries, they're used to printing out a lot of paperwork. They're used to showing up on time. They're used to being mobile and showing up at someone's house, so they know what it's like. But then they have to sit down with somebody and convince them to sign, 100 pages of paperwork for loan documents, right? It takes a little bit of bedside manner. It takes a little bit of trust. It takes a little bit of like, hey, this person's a professional and I'm going to trust them. And so I have found that whenever I send a notary out to get a deal signed or a contract done, their closing ratio is very, very, very high. And the interesting thing is that most notaries are used to working between $75 for a signing all the way up to, let's say, $250 or $300. I know I got a little helicopter here in the background. But, if you can get a notary and you're willing to pay them, let's say, $75 if they show up to an appointment, and another $400 or $500 if they get the contract signed, I got to tell you, that is a very, very, very good deal. And not only that, notaries, they are always looking to make more money, right? Being a notary, it's just not that profitable. And so I have brought notaries on just to, number one, get contracts signed. But number two, I've sent notaries out on appointments for me and given them a piece of the deal. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but either way, do not sleep on notaries. Think about it. You don't have to pay them a salary. They use all their own equipment. They don't have to come into your office. They're used to printing out their own documents, driving to an appointment, meet to someone face to face. And I got to tell you, I've done countless deals with notaries. They're extremely reliable. Of course, things can go wrong, just like with any employee. But get a good notary on your team. Good place to check out notaries is 123notary.com. And you can look in your area, you could read reviews and interview some. If you got somebody who's reliable, right? Maybe meet them in person, maybe pay them to do a signing with you, maybe go on an appointment with them, right? And pay them just to get one of your contracts signed, just to see how they interview and how they interact with sellers. And who knows, maybe that relationship can grow from just a, hey, I'm gonna pay you per flat signing, to then maybe one of them being an acquisition specialist for you. But when you're first getting started, when you're trying to keep overhead low, when you're not looking to build a huge team first getting out, profitability is just so important, right? Check out Notary. It is a fantastic option. I talked with a client a week ago, and he just locked up a $60,000 deal with a notary who went face to face, and the seller actually gave the notary all kinds of objections, and she handled them, got the contract signed, scanned it back to the business owner, one of my joint venture partners, left the original with the seller, right? They just scanned a copy on their telephone and then mailed the original back, mailed a copy of the original to my joint venture partner. And so if you are thinking about hiring an acquisition specialist, maybe just to get out of your comfort zone, trying a notary to lock up one of your contracts may be the first step. So if you have any ideas on how you've used notaries, or maybe if you have a great idea on how to hire acquisition specialists, I've hired dozens of acquisition specialists, and obviously you can bring them in-house and train them. And I've trained many acquisition specialists, make a ton of money. Actually, if you have not invested in the no limit selling system and you are serious about wholesaling, this is your craft. You want to make as much money as possible. You want to learn how to talk to sellers, do bigger deals. You want to shrink that conversion time from when you talk to a seller to getting the contract. Then check out the no limit sales system. That's nolimitsalessystem.com/backdoor if you're just interested in buying it. nolimitsalessystem.com/backdoor. And if you like these mini episodes, leave a comment on YouTube and let me know what you'd like to hear. If you are listening to this on a podcast or iTunes, hit me up on Instagram at Todd Toback, and I would love to hear from you. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye.